Hello, everyone's Forest Focus. Nottingham Forest are fifth in the Premier League after a goal from one of our own and two from the striker Erling Haaland wishes he could be to beat Leicester City 3-1 tonight. Joining us to discuss the game in full as another win for the Reds goes in. First of all, is a man on the greatest unbeaten run, along with Nottingham Forest, in Mark Sutherns. Mark, you said before we came on, these get a bit too easy doing these post-match shows now.
Getting routine, isn't it? After the suffering I went through with defeat after defeat, it's suddenly turned, and I think it's about 7 or 8 I've done unbeaten now. And yeah, I mean, it's incredible where we are and how professional that performance was, and we look comfortable, and obviously we've got a striker on fire. So another 3 points, fifth in the table, fantastic.
Fantastic indeed. Fantastic indeed. Second guest today is former Reds midfielder Lewis McGugan on his birthday. Fantastic to have you back on the podcast, Lewis. How are you doing?
No, really well, thank you. It's good to be back. It's been a long time. It's felt like a while since I've been on. So no, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be on.
Kick us off, Lewis. What did you make of it in general tonight before you get into all the details?
No, I think very, very good. Very good result. Overall, a very good performance. I think when you strip it back from a neutral, I think it was, especially first half, I think it was just a really good game to watch. It was a really good game of football to watch, and both teams going at it. And I think if you look at it, probably tactical, I think Nuno, from what we've seen, I think probably the first half was a little bit too open for his liking. And yeah, it could have gone either way. But I think that the second half and the goal straight after half time, I think that just kind of knocked Leicester's confidence. And I think from there was only kind of one team in it. I think they just kind of ran out of steam pretty quickly. But all in all, I think it was a very good result. But first off, I think it was a very good game to watch from a neutral. But I'm sure the manager would probably not want it to be that open moving forward.
Thank you very much, by the way, to Will Hose for signing up as a member, and also Anthony Jessup. Good to have you guys on board. Thank you very much for that. What about you, Mark? It does feel unbelievable that we keep winning these games, but we keep deserving to win these games, don't we?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, Lewis is right. First half, it was too open. I think they inverted Pereira into midfield, and that overloaded a bit, and we let them play through that too often. That's where their goal came from. Winks had the 1-2 with Pereira and set Winks away and unlocked us a bit. And I think, obviously, we got hold of that second half, and I think Anderson and Wood were a bit more coordinated. We shut that avenue down through the midfield. And then Leicester seemed to run out of ideas. Obviously, the goal knocked the wind out of them as well. But once we went 2-1 up, I didn't think Leicester threatened at all. And obviously, second half, Sells was a passenger and managed to come out of it with an assist as well for the third goal. So yeah, the way we defended second half and the way we adjusted, changed that little tweak tactically to just tighten up in midfield, was great to see. And then, of course, we had the Morato moment. He comes on with 20 minutes to go. Williams comes on with a bit of the energy. It's the template, isn't it, away from home that we're seeing those two subs come on. Then we bring Sousa and Jota on, who do what they do, and we see the game out again in the same fashion. It's just good to see that we've got that template away from home that's so effective.
Well, I guess it was the first 10 or 15 minutes of the second half, Lewis. Was it those two things, that tweak in midfield to tighten things up, and obviously, and then Chris Wood gets 2 goals, and it just kills it as a contest in a sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think it was a great point. Like I said, I think the first half, but that little moment where we conceded the goal and that kind of spell, probably 10 minutes before, 10 minutes after. As we alluded to there, what happened? They do go into that back three and have that extra fullback. What inverts into midfield? What allows that? What happens then from a tactical standpoint is they create a bit of a box. So they have Winks and normally would be Pereira. And then what happens is then Didi goes into like a number 10, and they have 2 number 10s, but they don't stay central. They go a little bit wider, which then drags Dominguez and Yates out of a wider position, which creates that gap in between the midfield and the back four. As what they then try and do is beat that first press. As of the goal, Winks, nice 1-2 round, beats that first press, and then they've got that whole gap to then go and run into. And at some point, a defender is going to have to come and commit themselves, and that's where they look for that extra man. So I think from a Leicester point of view, they worked that really well, and they got a lot of joy from it in that period. But again, coming out for the second half. I think we was very much looking at that to try and nullify that. But I think again, goals change games, and I think the goal at that time, I think it just knocked Leicester's confidence completely.
Mark, we'll talk about Chris Wood in general. You had some stats about Chris Wood that are ridiculous, but
They keep coming,
give
yeah.
those to us, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's now got the highest conversion rate, the highest shot accuracy in the league at 81.3, above Solanke on 80, and his conversion rate is 36.8, which is the highest. You look at Haaland, he's on 76 accuracy, 28 conversion. So Wood is just so economical. You give him a chance, everything he touches turns to goal at the moment, and I think what I'm detecting, he's got this aura about him. It's an aura of confidence. It's not only it's good in terms of the teammates have that confidence in him to knock balls into him, and he can, do what he did tonight, particularly on the first goal, obviously. But I think that aura is actually affecting the opponent as well. I mean, he just pinned the centre half and turned him for that goal. Beautiful curl finish. And then Face was obviously flustered by the fact that he had Wood breathing down his neck and made the mistake, and calm finish over the keeper. And it's just all going for him. I remember when I was last on with Lewis, I think it was the Spurs away game, and remember Chris Wood hit the post from that chance, and he'd been on a good run until then, and then that missed chance at Spurs, things turned, and then he missed 3 or 4 good chances after that, and we struggled. But what a run he's on again now, and he is that confident striker, and at the moment he's just oozing it, and opponents look very wary of him and nervous of his presence, and we're just playing into his strengths.
The first goal, Lewis, I mean, strikers who aren't confident and aren't very good, who are very good, obviously, score that goal. Just talk us through, that's not even a half chance, is it, that he's put away there?
No, and I think that footballers at the highest level, it is on confidence. It is, they kind of, they look at confidence. How many players, and we just talk about kind of our club, that you look at players that come in and coming out, and some come in and don't really hit the heights, and then they go to another club and it seems like they're a completely different player, and that doesn't necessarily mean that their ability has changed. It's just that they've got in the right moment, the right tactics, the right formation, the right manager. All these little small details all come into one and have that confidence. And if you look at his first goal, that is a striker in confidence. He didn't even look where the goal was. He knew where the goal was. And that's, the position and the headspace that he's in at the minute. And it's a fantastic position for him to be in, and also for the club to be in what he's doing. And I think, again, Mark's right, when he's going out there, he's got that bit of aura about it. And also the players around kind of rely on him. They know what he can produce. They know if he gets a chance, he's going to probably score. And again, that just feeds through the whole team. So I think from a collective standpoint, from the team, the manager, and the club, I think it's a real. It's one of them real big believers and indication that sometimes you just got to stick with players. They've all played at the highest level, and they've all had good spells. Sometimes players go through bad spells, and that happens. But it's just kind of, if you look at that now, that is just it's a great feeling of, when you stick with someone and they go through them rough times and they come out on the other side, and now everybody, but more importantly himself, is reaping the benefits.
Thank you very much for £10, James. That's very kind of you. Very much appreciate that. On to West Ham, indeed. Hopefully see a few people there. I'll be at that one, and Mark will be at that one as well. So yeah, hopefully see people at the nav and at the ground. If you're playing in that team with Chris Wood, Lewis, and you're a midfielder, do you kind of almost gamble that extra little bit to break into the box? Does it give you more confidence and belief that this team will score goals just because you've got a player in that sort of vein of form?
Yeah, completely. I think anybody that's played football at any level, and if they're playing in a team and their strikers look like they're got a big chance of putting the ball in the back of the net, they're in that kind of rich vein of form. I think it's very good to be behind them and be in that team. And I think all the players now are starting to believe. I think you can see it. I think it's not a case of now when he scores, it's a bit of a surprise. It's more of like, now it's another one. It's another one to the tally. It's another one to the tally. And you can look at the celebrations and the kind of players coming together, what it means to them, and you can tell they're a really close group. And again, every single one of them will know. And that's sometimes the hardest thing from a change room standpoint, is that we've all been through them bad moments, and sometimes when we go on them pitch and the fans, they don't really see the bad times and they see what these players go through day to day, and that's when these players are now seeing maybe they've been with him in them bad times when he's probably got a little bit of unwanted stick or he's been a bit down, and now he's getting the other side of it. And as a player in that change room, as part of that squad, that'll be really good to see.
Also, thank you very much to Richard for the $20 from Richard Spray. You don't have to do that, Richard. It's very kind and very much appreciated. If people just want to hit like on the video, then that would be a nice gift as well. There's over 600 people with us, so if you could do that, that would be great. The second goal from Wood, Mark, I think he's really good actually. But I kind of underestimate because he gives Fast a little nudge and then he takes a step. And then he's just there to loop it over Hermansen, who's a good keeper, to be fair. No, I don't think he can do anything about it.
Yeah, that's just experience, isn't it? I mean, that's a striker at the top of his game, but also someone who knows exactly how to get that opportunity in that situation. He knew how to kind of handle the defender, how to push him off the ball without fouling, when to time the header over the keeper. It was just perfect for him. And as soon as the ball went over the top themselves, I knew they were in trouble because Face before that got done by Hudson-Odoi when Hudson-Odoi hit the post. So we were starting to get in one-on-one. And I think he was rattled by that. And then obviously Wood, just managed it perfectly, managed that opportunity perfectly, converted it. And that was game over by that point because that signalled the changes. And then we were just sitting deep. And I mean, Lewis made a point about Ndidi. He was probably their most effective player first half. Winks was good as well. But in terms of goal threat, I think Ndidi was getting forward a lot. We saw nothing of him second half because we were able to sit deep and just nullify that threat. And he was no longer a factor. So, once we'd gone 2-1 up, that was the case. But once the third goal went in, we just saw the game out. And it's lovely, isn't it, to think, we've often been as Forest supporters on the edge of our seat, even with a lead that we would consider, comfortable. It's not often we've had a comfortable lead back in the Premier League, but it felt like that tonight. It felt like, we're going to see out these 20 minutes. I don't think they had a shot on target second half. Sells didn't make a save, and it was just managed so well. And it's something we've just grown into, a team that can manage an away win in that fashion.
Should have won by more. I don't know if could or should's the right word, Lewis. When you think of Callum hitting the post, Yates misses an absolute sitter. Dominguez has an unbelievable save against him in the first half. But those ones in the second half, could we think maybe we could have won that one 5-1 even? Yeah,
of course. But like I said, let's think about we're in a Premier League, and any win is very, very, very happy to take. By the 2 goals margin, yes, it could have been more. Yates, he's had that one where he'll look at it tonight, and I'm sure he'll wonder how he's missed it. Hudson-Odoi's coming and kind of that little trademark coming inside, and he was unlucky there. So listen, on another night, we potentially could have had a few more goals, but again, in that first half, Leicester created a few chances, and it could have possibly also gone a different way. So I think, all in all, we look at it, and I think it's a really, really good performance, really good team performance. A little bit of adversity where it's kind of we've struggled for a little bit, and we've come through that, and we've reset. And again, that I think that bodes well moving forward because that's going to happen plenty of times in this season, in this league, that you're going to go through their moments. And I think we've come out on the other side and gone and won a game, and we've gone and won it comfortably, all in all. So listen, I think it's a great night's work, and again, we move forward to the next game.
Just addressing that adversity a little bit, Lewis. We touched on the first goal in terms of them breaking our press. Is there anything we can do better after that when they're in behind us? Can we defend the cross better or not?
Sometimes I think you can always nitpick at stuff, and I'm sure the manager and the players will with the analysts will go through it and they'll look at that where they can maybe stop it at source. And I think that was the main thing, is probably stopping it at source and not allowing Winks to get that kind of 1-2 and beat that first press. I think after that, sometimes you just got to hold your hands up and go, it's a good play, and I think it was a really good cross. That kind of he puts it in that area which is really difficult for defenders and goalkeepers to kind of deal with. And sometimes you just got to go, really good cross, and listen, Vardy's done that for many years, and he's in there and he's got that touch. And like I say, sometimes that happens, and I think more so would maybe be the start of the kind of the start of the movement, the start of the play, more so than the end.
Just before we look at a few other bits, the next game is West Ham at home, which is the M&M gig. So I'll play the video and I shall see you in 17 minutes. The M&M gig at the Trent Navigation is coming up. Straight after the West Ham game re-entry there. What are you laughing at?
It's all right. It's all right. It just took me by surprise on the headphone there.
Oh, no, I need to turn it down. I know, sorry. I actually took my headphones out, to be honest, because I knew it was too loud. But I need to, I'll turn it down for next time. Because we'll play that through the week to promote it. Because, hopefully people get down to that straight after the West Ham game. Like I say, it's 600 plus people with us, so do hit like on the video. One of the many things that was pleasing, Mark, it's sort of in the first half because it was a bit up and down. But I thought the wingers carried a threat. I've seen Ilanga's getting some stick in the comments. I actually thought he was good tonight. I thought it was his best game of the season. What did you make of them?
Yeah, Hudson-Odoi, I think, had the beating of Pereira on that side because Pereira picked up the booking as well. They were double teaming him, which teams are doing every week now, aren't they? Because they want to try and stop him cutting inside. Hudson-Odoi was always a threat first half and second, and I think Elanga grew in confidence and he was taking James Justin on. He had the beating of him for pace. I think once he knew that, he was positive. His end product wasn't there. He hasn't been there all season really from Elanga, but I'm hoping that develops because he can be a game changer in the same way Hudson-Odoi has been this season. There was a lot more. It was a lot more positive from both of them, and that was key, wasn't it? Because we can't be a team that just relies on Chris Wood's goals. We've got to have goal threat elsewhere. So those two do need to do more and step up. And obviously Callum's done that, but it's good when we've got Elanga being a twin threat on the other flank as well.
Thank you very much to Fergal for signing up for membership. Fergal Condren, very good of you, Fergal, and everyone else who's done that of late. You haven't been on for a while, Lewis, because you've got a job. Congratulations, that hopefully is going very well for you, which kind of limits your daytime appearances. What have you made of the wingers this season? They've taken, Elanga in particular has taken some flack. Have they both been under par a little bit? I don't know. What would you say?
Possibly over the season so far. I think they're probably a little bit kind of under where we'd want them to be. I think again they're a massive part of what we do and the way we set up. And I think when they're on song, I think we're again a completely different team. I look at it tonight. I think more so. I looked at Hudson-Odoi and I think after we conceded, I think he went to another level again. I think he really then, from that kind of point till half time, I think he was the best player on the pitch, and I think he caused numerous problems. I think with Elanga, it's a difficult one because I think his energy, his willingness gets him in such good areas, but I think the disappointment and the frustration comes a lot from his end product and his final ball, and I think that's the big area. I think with Hudson-Odoi, I think he has that. I think he has that end product, and we've seen it on numerous occasions. But I think with Elanga, I think that's where the frustration comes with maybe from a fan base is that just that end product. When he gets in them areas, can he just calm, settle down, and make that right choice and take that right option? And I think at this point in time, I think he's still below par on that little final bit.
We did see that link as well. I thought Moreno got forwards better than he has done of late, Mark. That left-sided unit was very strong. And Aina again. I mean, he's just an absolute, physically unbelievable. Some of the stuff he can do, and he drew. Was it 3 yellow cards in the match? I think.
I think so, yeah. I mean, sometimes only his delivery was poor tonight. I thought first half he made a few deep crosses that kind of put us in trouble once or twice. But his defending one-on-one was excellent again. His composure as well at the back. He is just a steady, consistent performer now. I don't expect anything of him other than a 7 out of 10 every game, and he normally pushes 8, doesn't he? And so he's so reliable. And Moreno, he did play a part in the goal. Got forward more. I was surprised. I thought when the booking came first half, I thought that would signal Williams coming on at half time because we saw we saw Nuno change it at Brighton when we got the booking and moved Moreno out the way of Matoma, didn't we? And I thought Fatowu was obviously the key threat for them, but Moreno handled it well second half. He did well, and he played the part in the goal, set that up with the back heel. I think Callum then found Anderson, and Anderson laid it across for Wood. So, yeah, I mean, both fullbacks again, good games, 7 out of 10 performance, and Aina perhaps an 8. So what you can't really ask for more from them.
We've not spoken about Yates' goal, Lewis. I mean, if you're a Leicester, from a Leicester point of view, you're probably kicking yourself at a couple of things there. But it was he got a good strike on him, Yates, from from that edge of the box, and he hit that one well, didn't he?
Yeah, obviously from a Leicester point of view, I don't think they're really happy, kind of with their own worst enemy. But I think a big thing what I'd like to touch on is just before the goal is Anderson, and I've been a big fan of Anderson. I look at him, I watch him play, and in a way, I think the excitement comes from he's just a bit of old school. When he gets the ball in a central area, his main thought is, how can I affect this game? How quick can I get to that goal? Can I get to the goal individually, or can I set someone up and put someone in it? And I think it's so refreshing to see. I think we're watching an era of football where, especially central, we have a lot of players that just sideways and backwards and play quite safe. And also we have a lot of players that from maybe an attacking central area that focus more on just trying to assist and make that final pass and it to look a bit pretty. And I think he's got that bit of that old school where he just wants to drive at people, commit people, and try and make things happen. And I think if you look at Yates' goal, that's what he did again. He did it against Crystal Palace with some great footwork on Monday evening. Again, unlucky to get through, and he still tried to get the shot off at the end. And he's done it again. He's tried to weave his say through. Obviously broke down. The second ball's dropped, and again it falls to Yates. So I think again, there's so many positives in that move. It comes to the edge of box, and it's a great finish. It's a great control finish, and like I said, he'll be really happy with that one. And again, I think his performances again have kicked on again and gone to a new level. And I look at that midfield three. I look at Dominguez. I think he's performed very, very well. And I think that three for the last 2 games haven't really put a foot wrong. And I think we've looked really exciting at times. So again, moving forward as a squad, I think that's fantastic news for the football club and the manager, that he's got players in a central area that are going to cause him problems, and they all want to be playing. So, and I think in the long run, that's a good thing for the football club.
A few people at half time I was noticing, Lewis, saying Anderson looked a bit leggy, a bit slow against Palace. Was that more because Leicester were moving the ball well through midfield and that we couldn't quite get things right? Did that cause Anderson more problems than him actually being a bit knackered?
Yeah, like I said, I think that's valid. I think tonight he probably wasn't as productive as he was against Crystal Palace. I think that's quite plain to see. But again, I think what he does, he just gives it a different dimension. And again, like I said, on possibly from a tactical standpoint, Leicester, what they did in the first half, they made that extra man in the midfield, and they made the areas very big. And again, for a midfield three to have to cover them areas, I think at times maybe he got caught in a little kind of no man's land in between Pereira and Winks, and him and Chris Wood at times probably got the miscommunication on who's going to do the deepest one. So yeah, so I think in terms of his performance from Crystal Palace, I think it was a little bit below par. But again, I still think he gives us something that we haven't had.
And Lewis alluded to it there, and Kevin as well here, Mark. We've done this without Morgan Gibbs-White.
Yeah.
We didn't feel the need to bring James Ward-Prowse on. We've done it without Sangare and Danilo. And we've done it as comfortably as you can do in a Premier League game, second half. I mean, it's fantastic signs.
Yeah, I think when Anderson came, we were speculating about the role he would play. Would he play in the 8? Would he play in the 10? Would he play out one of the wide positions? And we did say at the time, we didn't really have a natural replacement for Gibbs-White if he got injured or suspended. And look how valuable Anderson has been. And it does make you think, yeah, if Nuno had played him in the 10 against Fulham and not gone with the 2 up front, which seemed a bit odd at the time, does make you wonder whether we'd have got a result or at least a draw out of that game with Anderson, because he, as I said the other night when he played in the 10 for the first time against Palace, he seemed to relish it. He seemed to really want to show what he could do. And yes, he was less effective tonight, but I think he played a part in the second half in shutting down that avenue through the midfield. And so he sacrificed himself a little bit second half. And his standards are so high. I saw a misplaced pass which set up Buonanotte, and you could see off the ball he was like, kicking himself for giving the ball away. It didn't come to anything, but he's 21 years old. His decision making is actually very mature for someone of that age. He always seems to use the ball well. He retains the ball. He makes sensible passes. He's not as flash perhaps as Gibbs White with the flair, but he has got that in him as well. He's got that little spark of creativity as well. But his decision making is very sound normally, and that was one mistake he made tonight. And I think he was gassed at the end, and I think that's why he came off. But he's been a fantastic signing for us, and again, it's a sign of better kind of recruitment that we've seen through the summer, and it's really paying off.
You can see it in the substitutions as well, Lewis, that we're bringing on. It's become a formula, but it's a good one. Morato comes on with 20 to go, Nico comes on with 20 to go, and we look rock solid, but we carry a threat on the break. It's sensible that keep doing it, and it keeps working, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think we've also got to touch on the quicker turnaround that we've had. Do you know what I mean? We like I said, we're playing at the highest level, and we've gone Monday to Friday, which is pretty tough. And again, as you look at the players, we spoke about Anderson, and some fans maybe looked at it, he's probably gassed out a little bit, but it's probably understandable. Do you know what I mean? They're playing at the highest level and the high intensity. And they're recovering from Monday to Friday to go and put that output. So at times that can happen where they're just a little bit off it. But again, if you look at the squad, if you look at the subs that we're making, there seems to be a pattern emerging of the trust and the manager, the kind of formation and the personnel that he wants to go with a result is looking that way. And yeah. The biggest thing as well, when the players are coming on, they're looking like they very much know what they have a job to do. They're coming on doing that. There's no one really sulking and no one kind of looking, I wish I would get longer. So I think all in all, I think you look at the squad, how it's shaping. We've done it again without Gibbs White. Ward-Prowse obviously was on the bench but didn't come on. In a sense, all these players, all these squads that we have now, and I think it's a really good place to be. I think if you look at the Leicester squad and you look at the Leicester team, they're probably, again, where potentially we was a few years ago in terms of, we've got a few individuals, but nothing's quite really clicking yet, and we're not really got an understanding of what we're trying to do. But if you look at our team now, we've got a real identity, and I think that's, as a manager, something that you always want to try and instill as quick as possible. Sometimes it takes longer, but I think if you look at Nottingham Forest now, we have a real identity and a real way of what we want to do and what we want to achieve.
I'm very much enjoying Steve's running commentary of the numbers going up with this stream. We're over 900 now. If you joined recently, hit like I keep appealing to you to do, but it does make a big difference. One of the things I wrote in my notes, Mark, was we look physically stronger, faster, better than Leicester as the game wound down. I mean, Taiwo coming on looks as fit as I've seen him for a while, and Sosa and Jota, they bring a lot of energy off the bench as well. And we finished that game so strongly. Leicester didn't really look a threat actually in the last 20, did they?
Yeah, well, that's what happens when you get more squad depth. When you know that the changes that are coming on from the bench aren't going to weaken the 11 that much, if in some areas strengthen it. Taiwo is, I mean, that's one of the byproducts of Wood's form, is that we're able to build Taiwo's fitness up now over a matter of weeks, and he'll get sharper and sharper. And I think his first touch is improving, his movement's improving. You can see it's coming back for him now. And he tried to come on and obviously had that kind of speculative shot, but he's obviously looking at it going, look, I'm going to need to really impress to get back and get more minutes. And that's a good thing for us, obviously, because it looked like we were going to be short in that department, and we're anything but at the moment because we can ease Taiwo back in. And I think Lewis's point about you don't see anyone sulking is absolutely right. It's clearly a plan. Like, the players know what the plan is and how they're going to execute it, particularly away from home. And you can see when Anderson came off and when the subs come on, they know exactly the part they're going to play in the match. And Seb Hutchinson said in the week as well about how our subs come on and they're hungry for it. They know what their job is, and they just the appetite is there, and that's what made the difference. Our subs are coming on with energy and appetite and a purpose because they know that the plan's in place and they know what their role is. No one's sulking, as Lewis says, and it's just fantastic to see. It's a sign of a well-coached team that knows what they're doing and it's getting results. So obviously the belief is growing as well.
Let me ask you about those three, actually, Lewis, out of curiosity. Kelvin called Jota a burst balloon in a nice way, I think, on Monday, because he kind of runs around in an uncontrolled way. Sosa looks like a rough diamond, he's a bit unpolished when he comes on, but you can see, I think there's something there, definitely. What have you made of those two, first of all, this season?
Yeah, listen, I understand Kel's point, and again, but I think when I look at Jota, I look at and I think he's where if you look at him, you look at his personality, you look at his characteristics on the pitch, the way he goes about his work, and I think that's again where we've gone to as a squad, and I think that's where the kind of feeling of the squad is, and you get characters like that who's coming in and he's chomping at the bit and he's thinking this is a fantastic opportunity. So I think a lot of when he came on Monday evening, just his endeavour, and he got into places. I think he won 2 corners in a row down in the corner, just little things like that, and that's just they're the little things what just help the integration with the players, with the fans. I think again, so I think I look at him, I think he has. You can tell he's got quality. You've got real quality, but I think he will be a bit more of a slow burner. Build up that confidence, get the understanding of the pace and the physicalness of the league, and I think he will come good. And I think that's what I mean. You look at the players that are coming in, and you think to yourself, with time, with more confidence, with more understanding of the league and the language and the culture, I think it's really good signs.
I forgot to thank Richard for signing up for membership. I think I might have done it. I don't know. I'll thank you again, Richard, if I've already done it. So thank you very much for signing up for that. Taiwo, I think you were a bit worried for him earlier in the season. Are you seeing signs now that he's slowly getting there, at least physically, or not, Lewis?
I think when we look at it, I think Mark made the great point is that we are in such a good place with Chris Wood. It takes the pressure off Taiwo. It takes the necessity of him potentially rushing back, potentially going a little bit further in his body breaking down. Because I think that's where we've been in the past, and I think it's not done himself any good, and also the team and the club any good, where we've rushed him back a little bit and his body's not been quite ready for it. So I think this allows him to again continually build his body, continually try and get himself back to where he was pre kind of a lot of the injuries he had, and hopefully, because it will come to a point where we'll need him. We will need him to come, and Chris Wood's doing brilliant now, but it'll come a point where we will need Taiwo, and hopefully with this period now and what we're allowing that kind of foundation to happen, when we need him, he'll be perfectly ready and he can come good at that time.
Great night for the fans, as we said. We will discuss that, but it was on Monday because Temps will be on and he was there. But it was sort of quite funny, the chance for Cooper, Mark. I think that was just goading the Leicester fans as much as anything, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I hope Nuno wasn't hearing that and thinking it wasn't necessarily a tribute to Cooper. I mean, he deserves a tribute because of where he's got us, of course. But I think it was obviously a sly dig at the Leicester fans. I think it was planned if we ever got in that situation tonight, and we did, and the fans took that opportunity. So, yeah, I think though what I saw in the first half from Leicester, it makes me think that they could be okay. I mean, there is a way of playing there that Cooper's instilled. I think the inverted fullback and the passing through midfield, they perhaps lack that cutting edge. They've got Vardy, but how long can he run this season? So they're going to need to strengthen again in January. They've got 2 wide players who offer some threat, and against teams with lesser fullbacks than ours, I think they will cause a lot of problems. So I think there's a blueprint there for Cooper to maybe keep them up, but they've got work to do in January and see who they bring in. But that's not our concern anymore, is it? So it's it's good to see Steve being treated well by the Leicester fans after a rocky start, but we're very happy with our situation and our manager now.
I always ask towards the end of these streams for man of the match. Is it Chris Wood, obviously, Mark, or who else would it be?
Yeah, I think we mentioned Dominguez earlier. I think that he's been a bit unsung tonight. I think that he's come in, and him and Anderson, I think, have been key to kind of compensate for Morgan's absence, because Gibbs White gives us more than just that creativity. He's got that tenacity in midfield, and Dominguez has come in and provided that. But also, he's very tidy on the ball. I had a look, and he's 93% pass completion tonight, the best in the Forest team. He completed all his passes in the final third. So when he got in attacking areas, he used it well, and he was his usual self in terms of work rate. So I think for me, if obviously it's Chris Wood, man of the match, he's got to be. But I think Dominguez, because he's often unsung, and it looked like for a while like he was going to struggle to find a place in the team. But now I think he's earned the starts he's been getting, and he just gives us that extra bit of depth now. It's going to be fantastic when we can play Ward-Prowse, when we can play Gibbs White, and we haven't even mentioned Sangare coming back. So the depth we've got and the role that Dominguez has played, I think, deserves some credit.
We're so close to 1,000 people. I think Steve's going to have a breakdown if we get there. 995. If 5 of you can put this on a second device, that would be fantastic.
I'm going to join on my phone. Hold on.
Exactly. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. What about you, Lewis? Man of the match and just general the players that you really thought stood out in that one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think again, you look at Chris Wood and scoring 2 goals. I think Hudson-Odoi was again very dangerous. But again, back to Dominguez, and I think something that we potentially forget of Dominguez and his kind of role in the squad now and in the team now. If you look back at the start of Nuno's period, he always seemed to find a position for Dominguez, and a lot of the time he played off that right hand side, and so from the start, I think Nuno's always liked Dominguez and always wanted him to be involved. But I think over this last period, I think he's really again gone to another level, and I think he, along with Yates, along with Anderson, have done really well in that midfield three. And again, losing potentially our best player in Gibbs White, I think if you look across these 2 games, I think the people that have come in and done such a job that we haven't really missed him, and again that's a really good thing. We know what he does, and we want him in the team, and we're looking forward to getting back. But I think also it gives us that confidence that we have players now, we have a group now that can come together, and we can still give that good output in the Premier League.
Yeah, we've passed 1,000, by the way. I love that people are actually really celebrating that. Steve offered free drinks for everyone, and I think he's in New Zealand, so he'll have to fly over and buy a round. But yeah, thanks very much for that. Yeah, I think it's interesting. What I really like was we were so rock solid defensively on Monday and lauding Sells on the back 4, and then today we're lauding the attack and midfield. I thought Dominguez was great. I think Ryan Yates, I think you said it earlier, Lewis, he's found another level to his game where I don't know what the word is. Is he more efficient, Lewis, with just everything he does? I don't know.
No, but I think again, when we talk about at the start of the show about Chris Wood, about the confidence, I think we can say that for a lot of the team and a lot of the players. They're in a good moment. They're in a really good moment, and we talk about again the players coming on. They're coming on in a really good moment. We're winning games. It's a very, very, very welcoming place to come on. I've been there. I've done it, and again, so it's a different feeling. I think as a squad, we're now building together. I think the confidence throughout the squad are starting to realise we can actually achieve something this season, and it's a different feeling again of we are, even though we can't get too carried away. We look where we are in the league, and it's a different position. We haven't got that thing of looking at the bottom three. We've got a different outlook, and again, I think that will spread through the change rooms. And I think each player is probably gone to that next level, but a lot of it will be down to confidence.
Instead of buying a beer to celebrate, if everyone could buy new windows and doors to their home from Nottingham Window Company, that would be great. If you've got a spare, a bit more than the cost of a pint of beer. But yeah, thank you very much, Nottingham Window Company, for their support. You can see some work that they do there, windows and doors. And as I've said repeatedly, they did the windows on my house, so I do vouch for them. Right, last topic then, just quickly. Lewis has sort of touched on it, Mark. How giddy are you getting? We keep doing these shows after nice draws and big wins. How far are you looking ahead now?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, my first thought is we're building a cushion, right? We're building that cushion where we don't have to look down, and I think we're almost there with that, really. And the points we've got on the board so far, if we get to 20 points, which, looking at the fixtures, I think we can in 3 or 4 games at the most, then we can start to build on the positivity that we've got. I mean, the belief is growing and the confidence is growing, and through that, the players, like Yates, are developing and getting stronger, and the belief in the plan is there. And I don't know where it can take us, but I'm just pleased that I think even at this stage, I feel that we may go through a difficult period in the season. Of course, I think that's pretty inevitable, but I don't see us being a team that's going to get dragged down into it now, unless we get a real bad run of injuries, because I think we've got that depth there, and the belief in what Nuno wants the team to do is clearly felt amongst the players. You can see it in them, and yeah, I'm positive, and I'd love to see us finish in the top 10. Obviously, at the moment, that looks like a possibility, but we are going to have a period of suffering in the season. I'm sure we are, where we go 4 or 5 without a win or whatever it might be. But I think we're building a cushion where that's not going to affect us in a way that drags us into any form of relegation battle, hopefully.
As Richard says, I'm going to assume this stat's right, Richard, and take your words. I'm sure it will be. 44% of our points from last season already in 9 games. It's pretty mental. It's lots to build on. Just for a bit of context, upcoming fixtures, people will know this probably. We know it's West Ham and Newcastle at home. Then it's Arsenal away. Then Ipswich at home. Then Man City away. So talk about Jekyll and Hyde. Man United away. Villa at home. Brentford away. Tottenham at home. And that takes us up to Christmas. Is it just a case from a player's point of view, Lewis, of kind of riding the crest of the wave as much as you can and just trying to go game by game still?
Yeah, completely. I think we are in a great place now. We're in a fantastic place. I think we look at the start of every season. You look at the top maybe 6 or 7 clubs, and they maybe have a different feeling. But everyone else in this Premier League is how quick. I know we talk about the 40-point mark. How quick can we get to that point, right? The quicker we get to there, that's the first one ticked off. And I think that's where, as a football club, that's where we have to look to do. When we get to that, and hopefully we get to that sooner, if we get that quicker than we thought, brilliant. We'll tick that off, and then we look at the next objective, and then we look at the next possible. I think let's not get, like Mark said, there's such a long way to go, and there will be moments where we're going to have to maybe go through it, and we're going to have to survive a few weeks, and it's not going to go our way. So, like I said, let's enjoy it now. We're in a great position. We've had a fantastic start, but again, probably from a change room perspective and the manager, let's get to that point where we're safe mathematically as soon as possible. Once we get to that point as a group, brilliant. Let's dust that one down and go to the next objective. And I think if we can do that and build that, I think that will give us the best chance to have a successful season for the longer period.
Thank you very much to David Wood, celebrating his brother's goals tonight by signing up to be a member. Thank you very much, David. What players, just curiously, Lewis, from a player's point of view this week, will they want an extra day off? Because they'll probably be given one. I don't suppose they want to train particularly, do they? But do you want to get back in and just keep working, or do you just relish the extra days off that you're earning at the moment?
As a footballer, you'll never turn down a day off.
That's what I thought. Yeah,
yeah, you'll never turn down a day off. But again, the training ground, the environment, it'll be a great place to be, and it's a bit different from the days when I was playing. They spend a lot more time at the training grounds now. There's a lot more stuff, as you see. There's been video. There's a lot more stuff that have been put there for the players to spend a longer period of time. But again, it's also very good physically, but also mentally to kind of come away from a training ground, because you're there day to day. You're seeing the same people. So it's also really good, and that's why days off from the training ground are really beneficial, because gives everyone that reset button to kind of keep the mind fresh. So from a player's point of view, I'm sure that the lads tonight will be asking for that extra day off, and they've deserved it and they've earned it again. But when they come back into the training ground, they'll be in great spirits, ready to go again for the next game.
Would you be watching Saturday 3:00 or the Sky games if it was you, or would you just be getting your feet up and playing golf or playing FIFA or with the kids just out of curiosity?
No, you'll be watching. Yeah, and again, it's now it's an enjoyable period for where we are in the league, the kind of teams that be around again. So I think it's a really enjoyable moment, and we have to enjoy it, because we've had pretty tough times in the last 2 years where we've had to survive. So I think, again, really enjoy it, enjoy where we are, enjoy the way that the team's performing, and hopefully it can. I think it's going to get better, but again, let's not get too carried away and think too far ahead, and take each game as it comes.
Any final thoughts from you, Mark, as well, before we go?
A couple of things. I think Milenkovic, we haven't mentioned him yet. And again, he had one of those games where you don't notice him, which is great, because that means he's not making a mistake and he's not doing any last-ditch defending, probably because his positioning is so good. He picked up his first booking tonight. He's had 8 starts and he's got his first booking. That, for a player of his ilk, as in a big, he marked closely, he had a lot of contact with the opponent, and he's picked up his first booking. That's fantastic. We haven't really touched on that yet when we've talked about him, but his temperament is obviously really strong as well, and he's disciplined with his tackles. So that's great for us. So again, he deserves a mention because he's just consistently good, isn't he, week in, week out. The other thing is, we're not talking about the refs, are we? That's 2 games in a row where we've come out and actually the ref was all right tonight. Nothing controversial, nothing that went against us. And I think he managed the game well. I think he let a few things go first half, which perhaps I was a bit disgruntled with, but in the overall, considering, I think it was another good referee's performance, and that's nice. I don't want to be talking about the referee or VAR. I want to talk about Forest, and we're doing more of that, it seems, last couple of games, which is great to see.
And also, Lewis, just before we go as well, like Murillo, he didn't do anything fancy today. He just defended for 90 minutes. I mean, that's great, isn't
it? Yeah, he's like I say, you watch him. He's one of them players, and I always it's funny enough watching him on Monday. At times, you always see him. He's looking for that kind of that diagonal pass, that little one around the corner. And listen, at times he's going to put the ball at risk. But again, I think that's the fascination about him. I think that's the difference about him. I think that's why there's been the kind of commotion around him, because he does things a little bit different than your normal centre half. And again, at times it might go against us, but hopefully over time, he's still a young player. He can understand that at times we don't want to take that away from him, but he's just got to understand at certain times that there has to be different thought process. But again, with his centre back partner, the calmness, the experience, that could possibly help him. And again, he'll be learning from that, because he's still a young player. And again, just on that, on Mark's point about when we talk about is his first yellow card tonight, but he's coming from, even though he's kind of that ilk of a Vidic or some, you're expecting kind of that defender. He's coming from an Italian league, which is so tactical, so kind of very much defending in shapes, in units, don't really dive in. So again, that calmness and that kind of assuranceness, I think we can start to see it now from the kind of the time he spent in the Italian league.
We've had over 1,000 people for ages, which is really good, because it's like 11 as we're recording this UK time. So thank you very much for your company this evening. Very grateful for it. If you've enjoyed this, do subscribe if you haven't already. You can become a channel member, as a few people have tonight, and give us a lovely review on iTunes. We are back on Monday with Fletch and Temps. So we'll dissect the game, we'll dissect the weekend, and we'll look at a few big picture things. So hopefully join us there. Dan Story is with us on Wednesday, and then we'll look ahead to West Ham. So yeah, lots more good stuff coming up, and we'll probably revel in being 5th in the league for now. We'll see where we are after the weekend, but it's not going to be bad, is it? So exciting times. Mark Sutherns, thank you very much.
Thanks very much. I'm nervous about West Ham now because I'll be at the game. I'm not going to be post match, so I'm worried now. But yeah, hopefully this run continues.
We've got to beat West Ham because aren't you turning?
Yeah.
You're turning your son into a Forest fan, aren't you? Hopefully.
Trying to. Yeah, he found out tonight that it's like a 4-hour journey, and I didn't tell him that when I asked him if he fancied coming.
Yeah. Well, I'm taking my son to the Newcastle game for his first game, so we've got to win that one as well, lads. Sorry, no pressure. We'll get more people on board, but looking forward to that. Lewis McGugan, you are a hero doing this on your birthday. It's great to have you back with us, so thank you very much.
Not a problem. Anytime.
Well, hopefully so. We can do a few more of these post-match streams after wins now. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. Right, have a good weekend, everyone. Enjoy it. Not, it's all going so well, so let's hope it keeps going. But in the meantime, we shall see you soon.